Hello, Kyle here. I'd like to talk about my current painting process that's going on over there. When I first started with the Urban Landscape series, I was using just Google image search to pull up images from various locations around the world that looked exciting, and I was also using screenshots from video games. That was mostly due to a lack of resources on my part. I didn't have a camera at the time. I had no means of creating my own images, so I had to just take what I could. I'm, poor art student, be creative. Eventually, I was able to start acquiring the tools to create my own imagery. So it became important to me to make my paintings about my own reaction or my own experience. I would go to a location, walk around a little bit, get a sense of the place, and then I would photograph it, document it, take a note of what that location felt like to me. And then when I was painting it, I'd be creating an abstract collage-y thing, but I'd have a firm idea of that feeling in mind, sort of, that vague overall sense of this place. That's sort of what I was trying to capture on top of the busyness of, a city with too much going on in all directions. I've been raised in the country. When I first came to the city, I noticed everything was screaming for my attention all at once. It was very overwhelming. I've lived in the city for a decade now, so over time you get really numb to that feeling. So my work, I think, went from being very vague and unstructured to actually having a much more solid feeling to it. I think you'd probably agree if you see my new stuff compared to the earlier stuff. It's cleaned up a bit, but it's not as chaotic. It's a little more, I think, peaceful feeling visually. And that's part of my own reaction of just getting numb. It's about my subjective experience to the world. But what I've noticed is that way of approaching things no longer feels appropriate to me. I've sort of had two things, like one external event that happened in the world and one realization on my part. So with the last election cycle in the States, social media has ramped way up with the crazy to the point where it's far more stressful and overwhelming and awful and hellish than my initial experiences with urban life were. So it really feels like when I felt things were going too fast 10 years ago, well, holy hell, things are going a lot faster than that now, and I'm feeling it. So I've got that sense of urgency back. But the other thing I've noticed is with social media, people are no longer posting their own thoughts, their own ideas, their own opinions. It's more taking snippets of links to an article you read here, and you're posting that on your wall like, bam, this is who I am. This person's idea, this is what I believe. This person's quote, this is my voice. So people are no longer really expressing themselves by their own means. You're now taking a collection of other things from all around you and putting in a blob and presenting, other people's ideas and other people's words. This is me. So to have my paintings inspired by my own photos seems kind of quaint, kind of naive, kind of like a, something from a bygone era. I think it seems much more interesting now to use social media to collect imagery, to go to a location and find out what society as a whole thinks happened here. How does humanity as a whole experience this location? What do they think about that spot? So to me, it seems a little more relevant. I connected the two ideas much betterly in a previous take, but I forgot to record audio for that one, so I'm just going to leave you hanging until the next part comes along. But thanks for watching. Bye.